In this session, we're going to learn from Clint Watson, founder of Faso.com, software craftsman, and art fanatic. As the former director of Greenhouse Gallery of Fine Art, he spent 11 years learning the marketing and sales of fine art, and then took those learnings and applied it in the creation of the Fine Artist Studio Online, now known as Faso.com.
There's a lot that I see, but I think that one's pretty easy. The number one mistake, I would say, is not having a prominent way for the site visitor to join an email newsletter list. So a lot of people think the purpose of the site is to sell art, and certainly that does happen. But for most artists, in my mind, the purpose of the site, and it was the same with my gallery back in the day, the purpose of the site was to capture interested prospects and leads, right? And that word capture is probably not the right word, but to entice them to join your tribe, to use the words all the cool kids like to say. But it can leave an artist in a very bad situation later in their career if they haven't built a list of prospects and past collectors and prospective collectors that they can then go to show their new work and promote their exhibits and so forth. Like the old advertising guys used to say, the money's in the list, and that's absolutely the truth. That's exactly right. It's the first step. It's like the first date, if you will. I mean, you don't ask a girl to marry you on the first date, right? You're probably not going to sell an original painting on the first site visit, unless that person already knew who you were, in which case we're just skipping to the end of the process, which is if it's the first time they visit your site and maybe they're interested for whatever reason in your work or have been referred by someone else, who's collected your work, they're probably going to want to get to know you as an artist first. And the best way to do that is usually to get on a newsletter list. And I use the word newsletter. That word scares people. It took me a long time to kind of understand this, that artists felt like, well, I don't want to do a newsletter. I'm not a good writer. I'm not ready to do a newsletter. I need to prepare. People wanted to make it very slick. They're thinking like a printed newsletter with lots of articles. And it doesn't have to be like that at all. I'm using the word newsletter in the sense. Think of it as just sending a personal email to your friend. That's all it has to be. If you have a new artwork, say, hey guys, this is the new work I've posted. This is the short story of what inspired it. And here's where you can see it on my website. You'll know. So I've been giving this advice for a long time, and it's something that it's kind of funny because actually we're known for artist websites, but our primary marketing advice is this newsletter marketing. And we actually have that built into the product. So a lot of, some people like to use MailChimp, some people like to use ConvertKit, and that's fine. We can integrate with those. But even before we knew about those or those existed, we were already building out an included system for the artists to do this. As an example, I'll go back to a story from quite a number of years ago. There was a time people were really big on this idea of daily painting, right? So one of our customers, his name is Brian Kluwer, decided to do a challenge where he painted a small painting every day for 100 days. And the only marketing he did was to start sending it to his email newsletter list. And over the course of this 100 days, people would refer other people, and the list grew and grew and grew, right? But it was a decent sized list. I think he started, if I recall correctly, he started with less than 50, and it was a few hundred by the end. And every day he just sent a short update that said, here's today's painting, here's where I painted it, here's what inspired me. Just a very one paragraph thing, but it was very interesting to those of us interested in his work to see the latest work and what inspired it, right? At the end of this is the important part. At the end of this 100 days, he had sold 97 of the paintings.